Another awesome way to retouch away shadows or wrinkles is with the Dodge tool. And here we'll look at how we can use the Dodge tool to improve this portrait. Yet before we get to the portrait, I want to show you how the tool works. And to do that, I've created a demo layer. I'll turn on the visibility of that layer and zoom in. And you can see here, basically, it's a gradient that goes from our shadows over here to our midtones to our highlights. And the reason why I have this is because this will help us understand how the tool works. You can select the tool by pressing the O key or click on the icon. Then up in the options bar, you can choose your brush characteristics. Next, you can target a particular range of tones, shadows, midtones, or highlights. Here I'll select the highlights to start. Next, we have exposure. You can think of exposure like intensity. And last but not least, we have protect tones. We'll talk more about this later, but for now, for the first part of the demo, we'll leave that off. And what I can do with this tool is it's like a brush, and if I click and paint over the image, can you see how it's primarily affecting my brighter tones, and then it's affecting the image less and less in my midtones, and then not at all in my shadows. Now, if I change this to my midtones and do the same thing, you can see how this one is really affecting this area the most. And as you would imagine, if we choose shadows, which is great for wrinkles and shadows and portraits, and click and paint over the image, you can see how it's leaving everything else alone, but it's really affecting those deeper, darker tones the most. Now, the other thing to highlight here is that if you paint back and forth over an area, you can build this effect up more and more and more, as you can see here. All right, well, now that we've seen that, let's go back to our portrait. And with this portrait, this is a picture of Sean Stussy, the guy who created the brand Stussy, which is obviously after his name. And with this one, what we'll need to do is to copy the background layer because you want to work on a new layer, new version of that. Double-click the layer name, and I'll go ahead and name this one Shadows or Wrinkles. Next, I'll grab the tool by clicking on it. Then up top, we have to decide, well, which area do we want to work on? I want to work on my shadows because that's the darker area. And I'll bring my brush size down for a moment. I want to show you one more quick demo to illustrate how protect tones work. And to do that, I will change an adjustment to an area of the image, the eyebrows. It won't look good, but it will help you understand how this little setting works here. So if I have shadows at 100% with protect tones turned off, watch what happens as I click and paint over this area, back and forth here, as you can see. One of the things we notice is it kind of just obliterates all of the texture, the tone, and the details. But if we leave this on and do the same thing over here and click back and forth, you can see how it's really maintaining a lot of the original shape of what was there and the texture and tones and details. So with a portrait, we will definitely want to have this particular feature turned on. All right, well, let me undo those demo adjustments there, and let's get to work on a real area of the photograph.